Today, I'm excited to share with you the final results of the 125-gallon Tanganyikan tank here. You can probably tell by the smile on my face that I love it. I'm very happy with it. Hey fish friends, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Zenzo from Tazawa Tanks. So yes, we are talking about this 125-gallon aquarium. Now you might remember this used to be an Oscar aquarium with some other fish, catfish, silver dollars, etc. And one of the reasons why is I had rehomed some of the fish and then ended up just kind of rehoming all the fish and decided to do this 125-gallon Tanganyikan tank. Now, a couple of months ago, I had reached out to Universal Rocks. They're the company that makes these 3D backgrounds, and shared with them that I want to do some projects, and they essentially said, yes, we would love to work with you, and sent me a bunch of stuff. So we have this aquarium that's set up, the 90-gallon Peacock tank over there. We got all those rocks installed, and this one is all done. So if you recall in that previous video, I showed you how I attached the background in this aquarium. We use a little bit of silicone, not very much. I did a little bit of a cutout for a filter, added all of these, basically they're fake rocks, but they look like real rocks. Now what I did since then is I added a bunch of substrate. So in here we have aragonite, which is basically like crushed coral, but more sand-like in appearance and size, but it's aragonite, so it has all the buffering qualities that you would want to have in a high pH, harder water setup like a Tanganyikan tank. I took some Vallisneria that I had in another aquarium, a couple of different aquariums actually, put in a bunch of aquarium co-op root tabs so that they can kind of get a chance to start spreading their runners and growing. So eventually the goal is I want to have like a bunch of Vallisneria growing along that back wall. And then I actually had some additional plants that were growing in various tanks and just planted them in a couple of different spots. Basically to kind of like break up the rock formation, kind of add a little bit more cover for some of the fish. And also it aids in filtration because the plants will remove harmful toxins in the water. The first fish that I introduced were some shell dwellers. So I took a bunch of empty snail shells and put them in this aquarium from another aquarium, and then transferred all of my shell dwellers over here from my 20-gallon tank. So there's a bunch of shell dwellers. They have a lot of space in here to kind of roam around, spread out. What I decided to do is I kind of created little pockets of shells. So that way it's a little bit easier for individual males to have like their own little breeding colony. And if there's a rock in between theirs and someone else's, they can't really see it. It's like having like a big wall between your house and your neighbor's house. I also stacked a bunch of lava rock in here. Now the lava rock that I chose was lava rock that I had already, that was already like in aquariums. It was full of beneficial bacteria. And we stacked those in here to have a spot for my rock dwellers. So in here we've got some Julidochromis, some Julies, Transcriptus Tanzania, I believe. And then we also have some redfin calvus in here. There is a Lepido lamprologus in there somewhere, but kind of hard to find, hard to see, another shell dweller. Basically what I did is I created a rocky area for the rock dwellers, a shell dweller area for the shell dwellers. Also inside some of the rocks, Universal Rocks, there's this large one right behind me, right here. And I drilled some large 1-inch holes in there, and then some smaller water flow holes as well. So it's kind of not perforated, but there's several holes drilled in the back of that. You can't see it from the display side, but if I were to take it out, you'd be able to see all the holes. And basically what I did is I made that as like a second area for some more rock dwellers to dwell. And so we actually have some Julidochromis that ended up taking residence in that rock. So far it's been great. It's been maybe about 3 weeks or so since it's been kind of running like this. Everything is great, everything's running fine. As far as filtration, I have a bunch of aquarium co-op sponge filters that are stacked in the back behind the rocks there. And then I have a power head on top, an aquarium co-op power head, which is designed to fit the aquarium co-op sponge filters. And for full transparency, I work for aquarium co-op. So anyway, so we've got the aquarium co-op power head on top of the sponge filters, and that is creating water flow as well as mechanical and biological filtration. And then in addition, I have behind the 3D background We have a Zis bubble bed bio-moving bed filter, or that's quite a mouthful, but it's a Zis filter that has media in there that's air driven and that kind of moves around, and that is also providing biological filtration. But I also wanted to have some additional air stones in here. As you guys know, I love air stones. If you didn't hear about the whole like power outage thing and the craziness that happened and what I got out of it, then click on this video up here, and you'll see the battery backup system that we have to run this room in the event of a power outage. So anyway, I put in a giant air stone. It's actually a prototype that we're testing for Aquarium Co-op that we might have one day, but it's a really, really nice kind of heavy duty, beefy air stone. I have it turned way down and it still just blasts a bunch of air in there. Anyway, I love this tank. I love to come in here, just kind of sit and look at everything. Because it's so large, it's kind of a great kind of viewing window for me to just sit here in one of my chairs and just stare and watch at them. And I've actually been finding myself like, I'll come down here and work, and sometimes I'll find myself like just stop looking at my computer and I'll just turn and like look at the fish for like 10 or 15 minutes just watching them. It's everything that I've wanted it to be. It's everything that I kind of envisioned as far as the decor, the plants, the fish. Now, as far as fish, I feel like I'm not done. I feel like I want to add some more fish in here. I don't want to do like multiple species of shell dwellers. I'm going to stick with the multis, and then we've got those rock dwellers. What I want is I want to have kind of fish that kind of occupy more of the water column. And I've been thinking about what fish that might be, what would kind of complement this aquarium, not create like a huge issue as far as like aggression, not a lot of bioload. And what I've kind of landed on is another fish from Lake Tanganyikan that I think would be great in here, and that's Cyprichromis. Now, I've had Cyprichromis in the past. I had them in my 60-gallon Tanganyikan tank upstairs, the one that also has shell dwellers in it for now, but that's going to be changing. And I feel like having like a school of Cyprichromis in here would be good. So one, they are kind of open water swimmers. So they're just going to kind of swim around, kind of back and forth. Kind of think of them of like the Tanganyikan / African cichlid Danio. So if you have like Danio swimming around, they kind of do the same kind of a thing. They have very small mouths, so I don't have to worry about like predation or anything like that. And the males are super colorful. So I feel like if I can get a group of those and have them, you know, kind of hang around in the top area, that would be ideal. The plan is to let the plants grow out a little bit more. So we'll wait a couple of months, let the plants grow in, and then I will look for some Cyprichromis and bring them in, and that way they'll just have a little bit more cover. So anyway, that's the plan. The plan is to just let this thing kind of season out and mature a little bit, let the plants grow, and then I can maybe add in some Cyprichromis. I feel like it's something that can be very achievable for pretty much anybody. So it can be a little bit costly. So, you know, the 125-gallon tank is not cheap. If you don't want to spend, you know, hundreds of dollars on a 3D background, you can make your own. You have to be a little bit crafty and have a little bit of skill. But I'll put a link up here, over here somewhere, of how to make a 3D background. I'm actually going to make another one as well, so kind of a follow-up to those videos, a completely different style that might be easier for more people, less expensive as well. So look for that video to come here in the near future, as that's something that I've been planning, and I'm getting materials for that video as well. So with that, let me know down below in the comments what you think about this tank. Is there anything that you think you would suggest changing? Is there any fish that you think might work well in this tank? Again, keeping in mind that it's small fish. I don't want large frontosa or something in here. And also let me know if you have any cool tank builds in mind, or if you've done something cool that you want to share with anyone. As always, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you clicking that subscribe button, the notification bell, all that good stuff. And I would say, yeah, check out this video right here that also talks about more about this tank. So anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.